Hello, I'm Rebecca Winkler and I am the writer and director for the film Hostages. I first got involved in filmmaking through my father. He works in like a university TV studio and films operations to help with the students who are learning to become doctors and things, and so I kind of always grew up around cameras. He would always bring us into the studio whenever he had time, so that's kind of where it started for me. And then I was always passionate in acting, and I actually wanted to be an actress when I was younger, and then I realised actually filmmaking is what I want to do, just like my dad. So I went to Ravensbourne University to study, and I'm currently in my third year at university. I think for me as a student currently, one of the most challenging things in making a short film is budget, because as students you can imagine we don't have too much money, and with Hostages I think the budget for that was a couple of £100, which in the grand schemes of filmmaking is like nothing. So I think definitely when you're working with a very small budget, it can be quite difficult, but it's also really great because you find new and interesting ways to kind of get things for free. I think with Hostages in particular, it's quite hard to connect with the characters because it is such a short film. It's only like 3.5 minutes, but I feel like people can connect to them because of the comedic value that the film has and the way that the characters speak. I feel like everyone kind of knows a Nick character, everyone knows that kind of comedian in their friendship group, or they have known someone like that, so I feel like the audience can really relate to his character because 9 times out of 10 someone knows that type of personality. When I wrote Hostages, it was for a unit at my university last year, and I'd never written a script before, so it was quite daunting for me to do. I'm usually a producer, so writing and directing wasn't something I was used to, but it was a really great experience. And they always told us, the screenwriting lecturers always told us to kind of draw upon things that we really enjoyed watching and things we'd seen recently, and without me realising it, I'd actually kind of loosely gotten kind of like my, not really storyline, but I kind of drawn upon shows that I had seen in the past, and that show in particular was The Wrong Man's, which was on BBC Two a few years ago, and I really did enjoy that. And it wasn't until after I'd written the script that I realised actually this is sort of along the same lines. And so I think if you can draw upon something that you've enjoyed yourself but adapt it and change it and make it something that it is your own, that is a really good way of creating something that is unique, because you've drawn upon something that's done really well but you have changed it to make it your own, and I feel like that's what Hostages has done. Like I previously said, I'd never directed or written before, so Hostages was something completely new to me. I've usually produced, so I'm usually that organised person, but with Hostages I really enjoyed the visualisation of the whole directing process. I knew exactly what I wanted the characters to look like, I knew exactly what shots I wanted, I knew what I wanted it to be like in the edit, so I think I learnt from that I am a really visual person, and the film is exactly how I wanted it to look, so that makes me really happy. But I think that was the most exciting part for me in creating that film, was the whole visualization process and seeing it come to life. When I sent off Hostages for film festivals, never in a million years did I ever think it would be picked for anything, let alone being shown on the TV. When I found out that it was picked for the short film show, it was something that I never thought would happen while I was still a student. I'm currently in my third year, working on my final films, and never did I think a short film that I made in my second year would be shown to potentially loads of people on TV. I think that's crazy, and I'm so thankful that they chose my film to put out there. If my film were to win at the show awards, it would mean so much. Like I've said previously, I've never directed or written anything before, and I think this shows that I actually can do something if I really put my mind to it. And like I said, I found out through making this film that I am such a visual person, and I would love to try and direct more things in the future. At my university, people know me as a producer and not a director, and I feel like if I were to win, people would kind of accept me a bit more as a director instead of me just being like, I want to direct a film. They'd be like, No, we haven't seen anything that you've directed before. So I think it would mean a lot if it were to win. I don't expect to win, but if I did, I think it would be pretty amazing.